Oh, here we are. I'm Brent Leary.
Paul Greenberg.
Just Paul Greenberg.
No, I am diehard Knicks fan, Paul Greenberg. 107, 106 Spurs. Go.
Okay. And I am. Looks like I don't know. Am I still with you?
Yeah.
Okay, because on my one of my machines, it's like just nothing going on here.
No,
All
you're there.
right, and I am still hoping to get Aaron Donald to come back.
Well, it
Somebody.
looks like, judging from the stuff you've shown me, he's got a pretty good shot at this point. What was that stat? Fourth? Was like the fourth most likely to win player of the
Comeback player of the year.
Player.
And he's not even playing.
I know. I thought that was absolutely great. Hysterical, too.
Very, very interesting.
Yeah.
Speaking of very interesting, it's the moment of spin.
Okay. Ooh.
Wow. I don't know what the hell that is.
No, this one might get me.
I don't know who Encinaco hit, whoever that is.
Encinaco hits Armina. A sky? I don't know. Boy, this one's going to take some thought. I have no answer for it right now. I don't know this one. I'm leaning again toward. Well, looks like a derivative of some kind of Dutch or not. See, the K's are what's throwing me in this one. It's usually when you see that like GIAK, AK, AK. You see all the AKs there. They're the indicator of the language, and
yeah, so many.
That well, it could be again. I don't think I'd say it was some Pacific Islands.
Yeah.
Thing,
I was just gonna say there's so many AKs. I almost wanted to duck.
DAC. No, you have to DAC.
There's a K there for you for
yes, Alan.
Go
You're
Knicks.
Not kidding, man. So excited about this.
Ooh, Sven is getting a little cocked at it.
You might have. I'm still working on it a little bit. Sven. I know it's a derivative. I'm saying it's a former Dutch colony, but it's not.
Wow.
But it's a Pacific. I mean, what do you call it? Asian
dialect.
Yeah, well, an Asian language, but it's from a former Dutch colony. In other words, like you have Indonesian. It's kind of like in that vicinity, but it's not that. I may be completely wrong. It could be something like, Curacao or something, or Dutch Antilles, but
well, give a guess.
Or Sarawak.
Wow. What does Jack Kerouac have to do with this?
No, Sarawak. It's an island.
Knick-knack, Sarawak, give a dog a bone.
Close enough.
All right. So you stalled long enough. You got to take it.
I'm going to say, I don't really know, but I'm going to take a completely crazy guess at it. And say, let's see, it's sort of the, I don't know. I'm gonna have to. He does stump me on this one. I'll say, the Dutch part of St. Martin's.
Oh, he's giving you one last clue. Very far away.
Asia. Yeah, I mean that's what I said. A former Dutch colony in Asia. So that's probably more like that. So. But it's not. I don't think he'd do Indonesian again, and it doesn't really quite look like that. Well, Sarawak is in the Pacific, but it's not a former Dutch colony, and it ends with an AK.
A bang.
Well, I'll tell you what. I don't really know, and I am stumped on this one. And I will say Sarawak just because it's an answer, but it's not the right one. I know that. But
by the way, you can't say you're stumped either, because that's something later.
Yeah. Oh God. So. Well, I would never say I'm stumped there. I'll just nitpick it into death when I see that one. So I'll say this. It's a Dutch derivative, a former Dutch colony in Asia, in the Asia Pacific area, and I'm just saying Sarawak, which is Pacific, really.
All right. So the answer is Sarawak, Sven. Right. Let them know.
I'm also saying Dutch former colony in the Asia Pacific area.
Official guess is Sarawak.
Sarawak, right? Sarawak.
I'm glad I don't have to spell that one.
I don't really know.
All right, Sven, let us know so we can move on with the show, because
that was a good one.
We spent the first 5 minutes on this.
Yeah, but it was worth it.
That's a beyond moment. That's a multi moment.
That's right. 2 moments of Sven.
You are far away from the result.
Oh, Basque. Oh yeah, I am way off.
Many things catch the eye, but follow only those that capture the heart. Ooh.
Good term though.
Oh,
Indian proverb?
and it's Basque?
Well, no, he translated it into Basque. He found
Oh.
it. He's
Oh,
getting
Spin is
clever.
getting really, yeah,
Yeah.
he's going all out.
He's finding something and translating it. Okay. That's Basque.
He basically gave you a proverb in one thing, but put it in a different language. He's really trying to throw you off. He threw you. That's like considered a curveball, isn't it? Screwball. Maybe it's a screwball.
Right, screwball.
All right. Sven is like killing it this year.
Okay, I'm working on it. And
he's okay. He is working on. While he works on it, yeah, folks, as you might suspect, we've been doing this for a long time. I mentioned that 17 years to somebody at either last week or this week, one of either Connections or what was it this week? Pega World. And people are like, what? 17 years? Wow. Yeah, that's what I said to them too. I was like, yeah, I feel the same way.
Again, we didn't even realize it till Vala said it.
No, we knew it was 17 years.
No, but we didn't like pay attention to what that actually meant. It was just like a long time, right?
That's what it meant to me, a long time.
That's what it meant to me too. But but apparently we're the longest running.
Well, we might need to get a fact check. We're just going off of what Vala said, which usually is a good thing to do. But we might want to make sure of that before we.
Okay, well,
I don't know, brag about it. I don't know what to do with that. But anyway, this is going to be an interesting show because we're launching we're always launching something, it feels like. We're launching a new show segment later with one of our closest buddies in the industry. We'll ask him how he likes the name when he comes and joins us. But that'll be in a little bit. But before we do that, the last 2 weeks we've done
wait, stop. So I just typed into Gemini, what is the longest running CRM show? And then he said, if you mean customer relationship management, the longest running broadcast is CRM Playaz.
You got to be kidding me, really?
Nope, that's exactly what it says. And
what?
It says hosted by prominent industry analysts Brent Leary and Paul Greenberg. They had us on for over 16 years. Content, it goes through that. It said the oldest audio only podcast is CRM Talk, hosted by Sam Biardo. I know Sam, and Steve Chipman.
Is it still going?
I don't know. Doesn't say that one way or the other, but let me see.
CRM Talk. I don't even think I heard of that.
Well, you know Sam, right? I mean,
I might know if I see him.
Yeah, he was a Sugar CRM partner, and then he was a Creatio partner. He's a really good guy.
Was he part of what was that? Got the CRM Outsiders? Was he part of that thing?
I don't remember now. I'm looking at their thing, but they're kind of intermittent. The last thing they did, the final episode, it ended January 22nd of this year was the final episode.
Wow. Wait a minute. January? Wow.
This year, yeah. Well, you know what? We should have them on the show.
If you can find them.
Sure. Oh, I know how to get a hold of Sam. That's easy.
We got to ask them, why they ended it this year.
Yeah. I've known Sam for, 12 to 13 years at least. He's also, I've seen him at conferences all the time. He's a great guy. Really good.
You know what I would like to do, and I'm going to put this out, and maybe it'll actually happen. I saw a post by Dharmesh Shah earlier this week that basically said it's our 20th anniversary. HubSpot, and I kind of do remember this 20th anniversary. So they started in June of 2006, and the reason I remember that is because about a month after they started, I got an email from Brian Halligan, saying, "Hey, I like what you're," because I was blogging at the time, and he's like, "You're what you're writing about and talking about is right in alignment of what we just started. I would love to introduce you to our product. It's called HubSpot." Well, and it's like, damn, 20 years. That's
Well, do you remember that you did a webinar with them? I think it was,
Oh
and
yeah,
they had this like,
it
what
was
was it like?
like at the beginning of social media.
And they had like, I don't remember, it was like 30,000 people or something. It was some insanely large number, and it was the fourth largest of their year.
It was like I was doing some kind of either a social CRM thing or a social me. It's probably social CRM or something like
Yeah,
that. And I think what it was they had maybe it was 30,000 registered
that's right.
and like 6,300 and 9,300. One of those numbers kind of seems
Well, I
familiar to me.
remember, I
That
think it was
actually was
93.
on the call. It was like it was a ridiculous number. Of course, does anybody get those kind of numbers anymore? Because that was so early. Nobody else is doing that kind of stuff.
No, they don't. I don't
I don't
think
think
anybody gets close to those numbers anymore, unless you're, an
paying for it.
influencer for perfume, right?
Yeah, well,
So
I'm not doing that. So,
yeah,
but I would love to get Brian and Dharmesh on because remember, if it's either one or the other, but I think our first real on location video
yeah,
Playaz event was when we visited their new headquarters,
that's right.
and you brought CRM at the Speed of Light, the
Right.
book. What it must have been the fourth edition,
Yeah, it was. So that would make it
around 2009 ish,
10.
2010. Yeah, that sounds about right. That
When
was so
did-
2010. Yeah,
When did we do the SAP one?
I don't know. It's around the same time
Yeah,
period.
it was one of those two were the first, and the other one was the second.
Right. But anyway, and we don't have the video from either. So
Now, you remember our objection though to the headquarters of
oh yeah,
Outside.
they wanted to take us to every conference room, which was named for a different Boston sports place.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, wrong people to take to those rooms.
but it was between HubSpot and Zoho were the first kind of two. Because I think I had just started. Well, I had started a little while before that. I guess you have to say it was HubSpot, it was Zoho, and it was Infusionsoft. Those were like the first three companies I really started following as an independent analyst. And it's amazing. Two of the three are still around and doing well. I don't exactly know how well HubSpot is doing because they're part of that whole enterprise SaaS meltdown.
Yeah,
that's been going on. And Zoho is still private. So we kind of have an idea of how they're doing because they're marching to their own drummer. They have their own path. And HubSpot went more like the traditional tech SaaS pathway. And right now, every one of the in the industry enterprise SaaS vendors has just been clobbered over the last several years. Matter of fact, I Stump the Godfather question is going to be something around that area.
Oh,
so
good.
I'm giving you an early
area. The area I'm so interested.
I'm giving you an early clue.
The financials of enterprise tech companies. That's the thing with me. There's the one thing about an analyst. I never gave a crap about their revenue.
I'm only interested. Yeah, that is. Yeah, because you're not a financial analyst. Neither am I.
No.
And that's all those dudes care about.
I know.
Is that. Which is why I think they got this whole thing wrong. But I digress. So over the last couple of weeks, we did watch parties for Connections 26 opening keynote. And then this week, we did one for Pega World's opening keynote. Any thoughts on either of those two?
Well, Pega. I mean, Pega just stood out. Pega stood out for the whole year, and any of the keynote watch parties we did or conferences you attended, because I really didn't. Pega. Look, I think, and we discussed this on the watch parties, but I absolutely would reiterate this. They've been around since 1984. They are a mature company. They are sane about how they approach things. They never go for the hype. It doesn't mean they don't toot their own horn. Of course they do. It's part of being a company.
Alan does that in a real matter of fact, cool way. Although sometimes he does get like very competitive. And
yeah.
Right at him.
But the reality is that they addressed exactly what needed to be addressed about the use of AI and the value. And I guess the other side, which I was thinking in retrospect, not just the use of AI, but the value of AI, right? Which is not something you actually hear much conversation, but you always hear about its use. And, and they also address, of course, the cost of AI. And they did that unlike any other company we've run across the whole year. And not only did you do it, but they've actually designed a way to deal with it that takes the burden off the customer. And it's astonishingly well crafted and thought out.
And I think that's the key. They not only fully addressed it head on, they have a very clear and concise way of explaining it. They talk about, they can rationalize it. They can describe why they can have a cost system like they have. And, they talk about how some of the other companies, what do they call it? Tokenomics. And so this is actually maybe a little bit of a good segue. So while I was there, I had an opportunity to speak with David Vidoni, who is their chief information officer. And this is how crazy this is. We've been knowing Pega for a pretty long time.
Oh yeah.
And we know a number of their executives really well because we've talked to them over the years. Even Alan. I mean, it's a tradition like any other. Yeah. Unlike any other, we talk to them every year on our show. Of course, Don and Karam and just a number of them. We have never talked to this guy. He's been at Pega for 25 years.
That blows me away that we haven't.
And I guess now they're wanting him to get out there more and talk. They got a great story to tell, so why not? And so I talked a little about that tagline they have around predictable outcomes and predictable costs when it comes to AI, and how the design, build, and run and all these things kind of fit together. So I posed during the conversation, I posed a question about just talk about what role infrastructure plays in being able to deliver these predictable outcomes and predictable costs. And this is just a real quick clip of what he said.
Sure plays a role because we're using the best parts of AI in the design phase. So the creativity of being able to accelerate that build and come up with capabilities and requirements that would be much quicker than doing that by hand. Once you've done that, those can be built into predictable workflows, which can execute. They're much more efficient. You get the same answer every time you run them. It points along the way if you need to have reasoning and you need to have some, probable analysis done, you can introduce that, but it doesn't have to be everything. For our customers is going to give them, like I said, the predictability, but also the flexibility to automate the parts of the workflows that cannot be done through traditional automation.
It's how easy he made that seem and sound and clear and concise. And of course, Alan just came out blazing on that at the keynote. And it just made me wonder, why is it so hard for all these other vendors to talk about it in those clear and easy to understand terms?
Well, I think oddly, one of the possible reasons is,
I think I knew this one. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's assumption, maybe not, but maybe it's assumption of cost, right? I mean, the thing is, Pega is actually taking a big part of the burden of cost away from the customer. The other companies are not that interested in doing that, right? I mean, it's not like, I'm not saying they wouldn't want to do it if they could, but the reality is I don't think they're built that way. And secondly, I don't think it's a major priority for them to say, because how often do you always hear, well, we had to pass down our costs to you, right? I mean, Alan and Pega are saying, no, actually, we'll keep the costs with us.
But right? just every time we do a watch party, I started asking you guys for your bullet points. My bullet points is always address the AI anxiety that people have, and that is mostly around cost. So if you say they're not worried about that, that means that they don't really care about what their customers think, because that's definitely what their customers are really worried about.
Well, I think I don't want to say they don't, but because at the same time, I don't think they're stupid. I think most of these companies got where they got because they actually are fairly intelligent.
Well, yeah, of course.
But that said, how would I put it? It's either not a priority or
it's just maybe difficult to.
Right. They're just not, they don't have the architecture to handle it.
Well, that was the one thing that conversation talked about, the role of infrastructure, having the right infrastructure in place to have a better grasp on outcomes and costs so that you aren't surprised. And I think if you have to get your infrastructure aligned with that kind of thought process, that could be a very difficult thing to do if your infrastructure is aligned in a really traditional outside of what's going on now kind of way. And maybe that's partially the reason it's hard to talk about it because it's really hard to put in place. And so maybe Pega, once again, a company that has been around for a long time and have already kind of approached a lot of these technologies that seem to be newer to a lot of companies. Well, Pega's been doing this stuff for years and decades, and maybe they just have a leg up, and having that leg up, building on that leg up, and being able to talk about it in a way that some other companies, and I'm not pointing out any specific, I'm saying generally speaking, a lot of these companies, they can't talk about it because they haven't been doing it for as long as Pega has.
And the other side with Pega is, to their credit, and this is just an ongoing thing, they've always had a really good relationship with their customers, like really genuinely, exceptionally good. You know what else was like that? Pros back in its heyday was the same way. I mean, you had this remarkable relationship where your customer, even though, you know, I'm always a little leery when I hear someone call a customer a partner.
You did that to me?
Yeah.
You just said a little leery.
Oh, I didn't mean that. That was the pun unintended.
And our guest is like smirking now in the green room.
The pun was completely unintended. Yeah. By the way, I can't figure out where the subtitle is part. So anyway, I think, you know, it's just Pega, companies like Pega spend the time to partner with their customers, even though customers are customers, and it's a different kind of partner, right? So a partner that's, you know, mostly paying you is not strictly a partner. Partner means, you know, right? So you know, but at the same time, to their credit, they really do spend the time to know them. I mean, look, they have their weaknesses, their actual partner ecosystem, their, you know, strategic and technical partners. It's kind of it's okay. It's nothing special. It's not as good as a lot of other companies, but when it comes to the other aspects, they're out of this world.
Yeah, we'll see how. I think they took a really big dip into the strategic partnership lake. I don't know. I had to try to figure out some way to go with that. With the AWS partnership, well, I would really interested to see how that works. It's on the kind of face of it, it's a really good relationship. If it works the way they kind of laid it out, it should be a really good relationship.
Yeah, I think, and I've met some. I've actually helped facilitate one or two of their other partners, meaning I introduced them to Pega. And let's say this, it's a better program overall than some companies I can think of, but at the same time, I don't think they emphasize it, meaning they actually work to expand it to the level it needs to be for them to really take what they have here, which is an incredible foundation, and really build it out so that they can just, you know, jump to a whole other level.
Yeah, I think that might change. We'll see.
I hope so. I'm rooting for it. I really am.
So before we move on, I got to tell you, I really did like that David Verdoni. He was really. I wish we had talked to him years before, but you know, so I did a few good minutes with him, and there's a question that we use here that I also use on my A Few Good Minutes, that we, as good as the conversation might be, if the answer is wrong to this thing, we're done. So I want you to listen to how he handled this.
All right.
Oops, I want to get this one.
This has been great. We've had a great conversation.
Ooh, echo.
As I told you before we started recording, as great as this conversation was, I might never speak to you again based on this last question. Not any pressure or anything, but I have to ask this. So, and you live where in the?
I live just outside of Boston.
Yeah, I'm starting to get some vibes of my own. I don't know if this is going to work or not, but we'll go for it. Do you like the NFL?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
Yeah, it's good. I like it too. Do you have a favorite NFL team?
Well, I grew up in New York, so of course everyone's like, well, do you like the Bills, like the Giants? Not really. I mean, living in Boston, you're expected to like the Patriots. And, they've had their ups and their downs, no shortage of drama.
No.
But I bet you are probably a fan of the Rams?
I don't know what would give that away.
I don't know.
Okay.
Just a vibe I'm getting. So, yeah, I'd say, I like the Rams.
That still gets me. That was funny.
What? He saved his life because he was about to sink. I was about to say, well, honestly, I never want to meet him. Not only was he going to move to the Patriots, but he dissed the Giants.
Yeah, I was like, wow, he started off rocky on that one.
Oh, rocky isn't the word, but he kind of redeemed himself with that Rams answer.
Yeah, that was good. But I am now holding him to being a Rams fan. So since you said it, he's a Rams fan now. All right, real quick, Stump the Godfather, because there's not a lot of people here right now, at least. But I think this is a good one because we talked about the SaaS apocalypse. And by the way, Stump the Godfather is brought to you by Kaltura. We talked about the SaaS apocalypse and the damage it has wreaked throughout enterprise SaaS. But today, and we've been talking about it the last 2 years, like it's just killed these. But we're not going beyond 2 years. Adobe, just today, Adobe stock breaks to its lowest level since blankety blank 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 ahead of their earnings call tonight. What year was that low that it just got broken? I'll give you a hint. It's not 2 years. It's more than 2 years.
Oh, no, I'm actually going to come up with a number that if it's true, it's pretty horrible because I'm guessing not because I know Adobe's stock price, but because I know what was going on at the time. So I'm guessing 2008 or 2009. So during the...
Oh, you're going like the subprime financial?
I'm going to bubble burst, right? So
bubble burst.
Right, I'll say 2000 and let's see, when did SAP lay off those 3,000 people? That was 2009, April 2009. So 2009.
Man, that's like 23 years.
Yeah, I'm going. No.
Yeah.
2009. It's the same as.
Oh, okay. Oh, it is. I mean, now we're talking
years.
17 years.
Yeah,
that's a long time. 17 years.
Well, it's. Let's say that would be dramatic. I don't know how it.
They would be lost in the wilderness if that were the case.
Well, that's the thing. But I'm basically saying the worst since the big bubble burst recession.
Does our guest in the green room have a guess? No, doesn't look like it. And Sven, you don't have a guess? Nobody has a guess.
Alan, Sven, anybody?
Nobody. All right. Anyway, I will give it since you were pretty. Oh, wait a minute. We have something here. Sven says 2014.
Okay.
And our guest, who really isn't a guest, he is who he is. He says 2021 post-COVID. So do you want to, based on, and Alan is saying 2019.
I'll stick with my number just because that would be So horrific. I'm deliberately like placing it in an area that would be put it in, oh my God, level.
All right, so we got you at 2008. Is it 8 or 9?
I'll go 9.
2009.
It was also starting to resolve a little later that year.
Sven is 2014. Alan is 2019. In the Irascible. That's what Alan called him. I didn't call you that, man. I didn't. I didn't call. 2021. And the answer is Alan cheated. That's what the answer is. He had a chance to look it up. It has not been this low in 7 years. That's a long time. If you were an investor in Adobe, that's a long time. 7 years.
So it's not probably not. So what did it drop from to?
I think when I saw it earlier today, it was in the 225 range,
and had been.
It had been over 800 less than 2 years ago.
I wonder what it was in 2008, 9.
I don't know, but that's a if you invested in 2019, you're basically drawing even. That's gotta hurt. And I think it's partially because of the SaaS apocalypse or whatever they call that thing. But all enterprise software companies are down significantly. It's not just them. Alan, you're on a roll. You got it right. You and the Knicks, you're on a roll.
Alan's not. He's not. I thought you weren't much of a Knicks fan or any basketball fan particularly.
Well, he's now he's living right in downtown. So you know.
So Alan, are you going to be a bandwagon guy?
He is a bandwagon guy.
See, I'm not, man.
Who else is a bandwagon guy before we bring out our buddy?
Who?
The cold one, the bold one, John Colorice Lawson. All of a sudden now he's Mr. Nick.
Oh, come on.
I never even knew he knew how to pronounce or spell Knicks until just now.
Or bounce a basketball for that matter. Right. So I just, really? Well, I mean, look, they're an admirable team, but really, you know what? Anyone who wants to root for us, feel free. I mean, I've been
Taylor Swift.
I'll put it this way. They were having conversations at the event. They were talking about this last night where they said, oh, you remember when Richie Guerin played? And most people,
oh my God.
Well, I do actually remember when Richie Guerin played 1962.
I was great to say.
He was a great.
Who asked that?
No, they were just talking on WFAN. They were talking about how people in like some of the older fans who were either calling in or watching were saying, yeah, I remember when Richie Guerin played. And I actually do remember. He was
my God.
He was a fantastic
that was
ball
before
player.
Clyde.
Well, it was Willie Knowles, Richie Guerin, people like that. I mean, it was time, the era of Bill Russell, early Bill Russell.
Alan is showing his bona fides or fides or fides or whatever.
Yeah, and Alan, I lived through the years of nobody even knew who the Knicks were. But again, I was one of those people who did see them win a championship and was in love with those teams. I mean, they were amazing. And you know what? The guy I almost loved, look, Clyde was my number one guy. But the guy I loved second, might shock you, was Dave DeBusschere. I loved him.
God. Not shocked.
He was awesome. And he's you know what? He's OG. He's like an Anobi, right? He really is. He was the same kind of player. Well, OG is the same kind of player as, that was the.
Oh no, I remember that. That was embarrassing, actually.
Yeah, I know.
But anyway, let me ask if our guest is a big fan of Dave DeBusschere. Esteban, are you a big fan of Dave DeBusschere, man? You're on mute, I think.
You're on mute. You're muted.
You're muted.
Sorry, the stupid microphone. I was saying that I love hockey, and I said that's a really way for you, Paul, to say you're number one. 107 minus 106 is 1. So that means you're number 1, right?
No.
Oh, wow.
That was literally the Knicks score last night.
And the Knicks played hockey.
Yeah, that's it.
I love hockey. I watched it.
That's it.
Aren't you into soccer?
No,
Argentinian football.
You're Argentinian, man.
I was actually talking to somebody last week, and I was saying this is the first time that a World Cup is playing that I have absolute zero care or concern about it. That I'm not even going to watch the games from Argentina.
Why not?
Because my love for sports keeps diminishing to the point that it's non-measurable.
Wow. I didn't even know you had a love for sports to begin with. So that's
I did play hockey in high school.
Hooky?
that too, right?
But whatever the Knicks play.
Oh, wow. Okay. And on that note, let us welcome our buddy, our longtime friend. You have so many nicknames. You're the Irascible, you're Pestilence.
Digital pestilence.
Digital pestilence. Yeah.
Don't diminish my experience.
Digital Pestilence.
Can't forget that part.
Maybe we'll start calling you DJ Digital Pestilence.
No, that's defaming the profession that I love, DJ.
Well, I haven't seen you do it for a long time, so
prove
your bona fides are waning.
I didn't hear
you
either.
I tell everybody my third date, babe, you can call me whatever you want.
Just don't call me late for breakfast, right? Is that the last part?
There you go. Oh, you stole it, man. I was going for that one. That was my next one.
That was the oldest one in the book.
Amen.
So we are here with the irascible Esteban Kolsky, because he is beginning a regular monthly segment on the show, which I took the liberty of putting a title on. You don't have to use that, but I just thought
it actually sounds good.
Since you are really digging into this area of executive advisory services and helping C-level folks know what they need to know and do what they need to do. That's a nice little tagline, man.
Wow.
You can use that if you want. Just
I'm
say
gonna need a transcript because I wasn't writing it down.
Anyway, we are calling this executive advisory, but we're not spelling it like with the Y. We are spelling it with a huge E on the end because that represents the irascible one himself, Esteban Kolsky. So
thank you.
Do you realize if it took us that long to explain it, we're probably not doing it?
well,
we need a logo. We'll have a logo that says it all at some point.
Okay.
Put a huge E, and that's my fourth date, bada boom. But put a
Anyway, so why don't you explain what we're going to be talking about every month?
We are going to be talking about how AI doesn't matter. We are going to be talking about how organizations need to look at it as something that has been around for 40 years and improved a little bit, but not enough to take over the entire world. We are going to be talking about how people who graduate from college should not worry about their jobs or their prospects for the future. We're going to be talking about how all the investment for the last 40 years was just prepping for this, which is going to be the next 20 years of our lives. How's that?
Today?
Or the next, it's a monthly segment.
Oh,
we can start with the simple stuff,
That was very concise and well thought out, but then again, you are who you are, so it makes sense. So what are we going to be talking about for this one? I mean, because how often do you
go ahead?
How often do you put out, and what time of the month do you put out your? That didn't really come across right.
Really wrong terminology.
We'll get canceled. We're never doing this again. We get canceled.
That's right.
Well, when each month do you put out your newsletter, and what are we covering?
So Charles is my research assistant. Charles and I, we write a report once a month, and we put it out usually in the first couple of weeks of the month, depending on things like editing and late news and things that are coming up that we want to cover for 1 month or the next one.
Okay.
And the report has two parts. One, there's more than two, but the report is a monthly summary of the news for the enterprise technology. And the second section is actually a compilation of the talking points that pertain to everything that has been covered in the report.
Cool.
So you said
as an executive, you get a summary of everything. I read everything so you don't have to, is what I tell people. So as an executive, you get everything that happened in the month, and then you get the talking points and data points and insights so you can have a smart conversation about it.
So you mentioned that you want to start with the simple stuff. So what is the simple stuff?
The simple stuff is that there's nothing new under the sun.
What does that mean?
Simple, you said, right?
Yeah.
I've been doing AI for 40 years. We've been doing AI for 60 years. When I started, we did AI on paper because we didn't have enough compute power to do the things we wanted to do. We did symbolism, we did classification, we did compilers, we did a lot of different things, which back then were really hard to do because we didn't have enough compute power. Compute power was expensive. In most cases, it was unreachable. I was in Argentina, so to me, it was unreachable, right? And we did a lot of things on paper to see how things will work out. In the last 40 years, what has changed is the amount of compute power and storage power has increased dramatically. It's been made available for a song. Anybody with a credit card and a weekend can create an entire business on Amazon these days, or Google, or whatever you want to call it, right? And then they can start making money. I know people that with like less than $10,000 investment are making millions of dollars a year in revenue these days, just by putting this stuff together, by leveraging compute power and things like that. Now, here's the fun part. Nothing new under the sun. We're still dealing with the same thing that we dealt with forever, which is human cognition and replicating human cognition. Cognition means learning. So, we're talking about machine learning. Well, let's call it machine learning. Let's call it whatever you want. But the idea is like, it's just, we are talking about how computers get to do things better than they used to. That's what it comes down to. When you say, oh, this is like the internet, now, this is like when PCs entered the workforce and the marketplace in the 80s. This is not like the internet. The internet was distribution. That was easy. This is changing everything. We're living in a paradigm shift. I have a lot of words. We live in a paradigm shift. We passed the inflection point. We're mainstream. But the reality is that we are living in a paradigm shift. Everything that we've done until now and everything that we'll do in the future will be different. It's almost been like there's another set of words, perfect storm. It's almost been like a perfect storm. I mean, COVID destroyed the standard model of doing business. We've been searching for the last 6 years on what's going to replace it. And thanks to the compute power and thanks to the storage power available and thanks to the imagination of people that are not doing frontier models, we can actually see businesses that are redoing everything that they've done before in a different way. And that redoing of the business is what actually changes, is what constitutes the paradigm shift. So that's where we are. That's the simple stuff. If you want to take advantage of this, it's great technology. Nothing that we learned in the last 40 years about technology is different. Nothing that we learned about AI in the last 40 years has changed. And we're just going to continue to move forward. The rest is just, a bunch of bullshit.
So everybody in the universe still worries, and again, to your point, this has been a worry for over history about cost and jobs.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, those are the two things that doesn't matter whether we're using AI or not. They were worried about it when I'm not one of these people who calls everything an industrial revolution, because industrial has a specific meaning. But during the actual industrial revolution, same exact concerns. It's going to cause. So talk about it a little bit from the standpoint of, one, what that means going forward, but two, are those actual concerns? And three, if they are, how do you ameliorate them?
So
or do you?
Let's try the cost part first, right? It's proven that whatever we call AI or whatever we're doing, it's making things run in a cheaper way. It's proven. I mean, automation reduces time to execution, increases repetition, increases productivity. The ability to actually understand things in different way allows us to do things that are different, create new business models, create a lot of processes and things like that. So are the costs going to decrease? The cost of us doing the work will decrease. Token cost, if you're really talking about token cost, you don't understand what you're talking about. So we're not going to have that conversation. I mean, talking about token cost is like when we're talking about it, like, distributed ledgers, and we said that blockchain is the best technology. Anything that depends on tokens, and anything that depends on large language models to be executed, it's not the right way to go to market on this. I mean, the AI doesn't depend on tokens. It's the way that Transformers, the paper on Transformers released in 2017, implemented in OpenAI in 2022. Transformers leverage tokens. A lot of what AI calls token is just basically a unit of measure. So it doesn't matter what you're measuring. The token cost is because you're using public models and somebody else to create tokens for you. If you create your own models and your own storage and your own content and everything, you're not paying for tokens. You're paying for some cost in your computer infrastructure, so it doesn't matter. So if you're really going to build a business about, Anthropic giving you the color of a Taylor Swift engagement ring to solve your supply chain problems, then you deserve to pay for that. If you're really that stupid, then you deserve to pay for that. I encourage you to pay for that. You know,
But
but
it's funny because in that the conversation, I played that little snippet with the guy, the CIO from Pega.
yeah,
He says partially what his job is making sure that there are limits to how certain people are using the AI, just for that reason, because they don't really know what they're doing and they're using these tools without knowing what they're doing and not using it in the most optimal way, that they will blow through the usage of the tokens if you allow them to.
yeah. By the way, the AI is the title of a horror movie coming in October for Halloween. The AI, like the net when Sandra Bullock came with the internet. It's like, the AI is going to be the movie of the October.
There's a documentary right now on Peacock called The AI Doc. That's the name of it.
You know, it's painful. What's painful is to see how people are not paying enough attention to try to understand what could and could not be done with this, and they're just buying into the hype and doing the hype and don't care about anything. That's what's painful to me, to be fair. You know, because people don't know what they're doing and they're going to burn through tokens. I mean, if I were to be charged by the token for what I do, I would not be doing it. But as long as OpenAI continues to subsidize my use of a research assistant and a summarizer for my content, fuck yeah, I'll do it. It's cheap, $20 a month. Are you kidding me? I'll do it. And I know what I'm doing. I spent 6 months training my agents and my research assistant and everything. I created my models with guardrails and boundaries and everything. I mean, I'm not using the color of Taylor Swift engagement ring as part of my input because I don't look at that stuff. So, dude, it really is very, very simple. I mean, there's really not much more than this to be talked about. It is all about how we leverage technology to do a better job and increase productivity. That's it. End of it.
I'm right there with you. How about jobs, though?
Jobs is interesting because when we lose jobs, just like we lost jobs when the Industrial Revolution and the cereal manufacturing and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
I mean, we lost jobs, so we're going to lose jobs. It's part of evolution. I mean, any paradigm shift changes the way that society moves forward, and when it changes the way society moves forward, then we lose jobs. When clocks and watches were made available, the time crier that come around the crying the time and the weather was made disposable. So that's what happens. We're going to lose jobs. Now, the difference is we're not going to lose the jobs that we think we're going to lose. There's a project called Start.net that was published later last year. Can't remember exactly where I referenced in my reports. That basically looked at all the jobs and then broke down the jobs by functions that each job performs. And then I said, okay, in this job, these functions could be replaced by a public LLM model or by another AI model. The timeline to replace this function with what we have is 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, whatever. And based on that, they calculated the likelihood that all the jobs will be affected and how many will be disposed of and everything. And the conclusion was that there's less than 15% of jobs that will completely disappear. There's less than 40% of jobs that will be changed. And the rest will be actually improved by the use of what we call AI today. So this whole thing about, paradigm shift. So paradigm shift. There, I said it without the accent I can master, Alan, just for you. So, but the reason people get scared is because they don't understand how this is impacting the jobs, and I understand that. But every college graduate that is graduating with just the basic understanding of something, and they never spend any time trying to figure out what they want to do, who they want to be, and how they're going to use what they have. These are not the people that are going to lose their jobs, because these are people that already knew where they were going before.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you on that. I every single time there's been any sort of paradigm shift, a change in manifold. There's another term for you. A change in manifold. Job description, so to speak. I mean, what actually is needed changes, and right. It always has. I mean, you didn't need people riding horses when they developed trucks and cars anymore for certain jobs, for example. And I mean, I of course always go back to the 13th century because that's where I have a deep knowledge of it. Which at the moment, I'm glad I'm not living in it. But at the same time, when water wheels were invented, there were all kinds of jobs in agriculture that changed. So that it's just history. It's the way.
Well, and you could kind of like even the little saying when I was talking to Tara DeWow when I was out there, jobs may go away, but people not necessarily. People might not be doing the same thing they're used to getting paid to do, but they'll end up doing something else. And
exactly. That always happens. That's the other thing that always happens.
Also, don't forget that whenever something happens that changes the nature of jobs also get created. It's not only that jobs go away or get changed, but jobs get created. When cars first got admitted to drive in cities, the drivers were required to hire somebody to go in front of the car with a flag and push people away of the way of the car. Okay, that's not the job that I want, but that's the job that created for that purpose. I mean, when Industrial Revolution came, people needed to repair the machines. The machines still need to get repaired.
Yeah.
This utopia of like everything's going to be automated by computers that will build themselves better ways to be, whatever. That's not going to happen. I mean, let's be fair about it, right? I mean, let's not go crazy about it.
Well, you know what? I think also people tend to think when you say jobs will disappear, they literally think that's what's happening, but it's not what's happening. It's what's happening is they're being replaced, right? Yeah. And that's a totally different mindset. But I think people tend to think, oh my God, my job is going away. Yeah, but other things that you're qualified for or can be taught to be qualified for are now going to be available. But then you get into human initiative and things like that. Like you might have the opportunity, but you really need to take advantage of it if it's offered.
Here's the biggest injustice being done right now. Companies laying off people in the name of AI is the biggest injustice being done right now.
Yeah, I agree.
I took a look at several of the companies, vendors and non-vendors, and their employment levels. Post-COVID, when the government was paying companies to retain and hire people, people were like just retaining whoever they had because it was basically free to do it, right? Before COVID in 2017, if you guys remember 17, 18, the Great Resignation, everybody's leaving their jobs.
Yeah, right.
I'm gonna get a better job. So we all left, and the companies got stuck with not enough people to do the right work. So they actually overhired. They hired a lot of people, more than they needed, right? So if you look at the historical trends for employment numbers in this country, we are just reverting to where we were a pre-COVID level of employment at a time that we actually had a persistent growth engine behind us. We don't have a persistent job engine right now. We need to reinvent what we're doing. We're going to use AI to do that. But we need to reduce the number of employees that we have, unfortunately, because we cannot do it when we're actually feeding a lot of people that are not providing revenue or value back to the organization. That's the bottom line.
So how do you go about advising or helping executives that are in these positions to hire or fire or these huge investments into AI for whatever reason? They are doing a pretty bad job of messaging and talking about this to the point where everybody's afraid. How do you go about getting them to relay this kind of message in a way that people won't be afraid of, they'll actually lean into, and then we can get away from all this stupid apocalyptic talk?
Well, I mean, so the thing is, like, it comes down to several things, but the biggest part is communicating what you're doing in clear terms with a proper vision. One of the biggest problems we had over the last 2 or 3 years is like we did not have, and we still don't have, enough qualified people that understand what this is to create a proper strategy for a company. Look, I have an organization, vendor, non-vendor, doesn't matter. Any company, right? My number one goal today is to create a new, persistent, consistent, reliable growth engine for my business based on the conditions in the market. I haven't been able to do that since COVID. Ever since COVID, I've been just kind of like finding ways to go around and to make something happen here and there and whatever. But like, we're not at the point where like that's consistently being done yet, right? So that's number one. So if I need to build a persistent, consistent growth engine, then I need to explain what that's going to be and why the decisions that I'm making will impact that one way or the other. If I'm going to change the way, if you're going to change the product that we manufacture, we will need different people. If I'm going to change the way I provide a service, we will need different people. I mean, and so on goes they were saying. So what you're looking for is really somebody that actually can explain in very certain terms why they're doing what they're doing. You don't want to do it and just like hope that the market judges you based on what they want. I had a conversation with a friend a couple of nights ago, and she was saying that, like, all these data centers are not going to be built because people complain. And I'm going like, no, honey, that's not going to happen.
No.
So, well, but how about this town that like lost entire groundwater because of this? And I said, here's the thing. It takes 3 to 5 years to build and deploy a data center. All that we're talking about now is building something over the next 2 to 5 years, not something that is in the past. And we improved dramatically how we utilize resources, water, energy, everything else, right? So then why won't we build something that's better than what we have just because somebody complains about what we did in the past? It's all about communication and explaining things better. And like, that's the thing. You create a strategy that explains to the company exactly what you're doing. Any decision that stems from that strategy that everybody understands, it's a sunk in. You don't have to explain it. You don't have to say, oh, we're losing people because of this or that. You can say, this is our strategy, and to get there, we need to do this. And yeah, people will lose their jobs, and we'll change the way we do things, and we'll lose customers. But we have a growth strategy for the next 10 years that is going to get us where we need to be.
You know what? To your point, communication is always going to be this essential, and also if it's a situation with jobs or even other things, opportunity is also the other side. Provide some opportunity for these people to evolve, grow, whatever they have to do. I remember many years ago, and this was many years ago. There was a period where a long period where I really hated Oracle, like really hated, and now I'm
as much as you hate SAP now, or.
No, probably not. No, I don't really hate SAP that. They're just obnoxious. That's all. But
I can help you with that.
Yeah. Well, anyway. Well, I'll skip that part now.
I'm sorry.
I really disliked Oracle a lot, and they did something to the company I worked for that was fairly disgusting. So the company I had, we had 125 person Oracle DBA practice. I ran all the practices at the company, among other things. And I decided, you know what, to hell with Oracle. I said, I'm going to dismantle it. I'm going to do it publicly, right, to embarrass them, right? And I did, right? So the way I did it was, though, prior to that happening, I went to all 125, called a meeting. I said, look, you're all DBAs. We only need 10 of you going forward because we have to maintain some things for our customers, but we're going to dismantle the practice. So every one of you, I am offering to you the free reskilling in either PeopleSoft or SAP, who back then I did like, right? And I said, and it's free. We'll train you. We'll get you certified. We'll do all the things you got to do, but you have to tell me which one you want. And if you don't want either of them, if you're not one of the 10, we're not going to have a place for you. And out of the 125, 118 stayed, and we lost 7, right, who didn't want to be reskilled, but they had the opportunity too. And then we spent the money, we reskilled them, and we had really successful PeopleSoft and SAP practices. So again, communication and opportunity.
That's all it takes, really.
Yeah.
When people ask me what I do, I said I create a communication channel for executives, because that's what it is. Everything that I have no insight or knowledge that nobody else in this world has. I promise you that.
I actually don't think that's true, but that's
Alan agrees with you. I disagree with Alan. That's fine. Alan thinks that I undersell what I know, but whatever. But the point is, like, I don't. But what I did learn over the last 20 plus years is how to communicate what I know better in a way that makes sense and people can relate to.
Exactly.
And that's what I'm advising you. I mean, I can't do anything that I don't know how to do. I never ran a $30 billion corporation. I don't know what it's like. I cannot tell the CEO of a large corporation how to do what they're doing, but I can tell them how to communicate better, how to create a better communication strategy, how to align the entire team in the same conversation so they can actually move forward together. And that's what I'm doing.
Which is fantastic.
And he does that monthly in his newsletter and now on this show.
And talk about people who want to actually engage your services at Constellation.
Oh, I got somebody this morning in LinkedIn that sent me a request to connect and said that they have something that it's going to change my life. So you can connect with me on
really?
LinkedIn. Tell me that you're gonna change my life.
Okay, man.
Well, that wasn't real.
I
Oh
don't
shit!
know
I
if you
gave him
want to
money.
on that one.
You just have to buy a LinkedIn ad.
Jesus.
Just find me on LinkedIn. Find me on the web. Go to Constellations Research website. There's a section of the website that's called the board. It has all the information. Send me an email. Text me. I mean, if you don't know how to get a hold of me, you don't need to talk to me. You know. So, I've been doing this for so long that everybody who needs to talk to me knows how to get a hold of me, basically. But
Such an inviting way to
That's right.
ask me to connect with
I
you.
don't
Very
care.
charming. It's so charming. That's so
The only
charming.
thing I like better, the only thing that I know that I like more than hockey is talking to people.
By the way, Alan is asking saying he didn't know that you ran a team of
Oh, yeah.
big
Oh, it
leagues.
wasn't just
Before
that,
people saw it.
Alan. It wasn't just that. I ran all the practices at the company I was at, and one of the practices was 125 Oracle DBAs, but we had about 5. I ran the Lotus Notes practice. Think of that.
Wow.
So for those of you who don't know, Paul's first book was not about CRM, but
That's
was
right.
about PeopleSoft.
That's right. People.
And who did he co-write it with?
That's right. Mike Fawcett.
There you go.
Well, he
There you
became
go.
Scott Fletcher, who was Mike's boss at the time, actually asked me. He said, "I got this really good young guy." That shows how long ago it was. A really good young guy that he'd just gotten out of the military. And do you think it would be okay if he could co-author the book with you? And I said, "Sure, I don't mind." And it was Mike, and I've known Mike since. See, that book came out in 1990.
Thought it was 96.
96. So I've known Mike for 30 years, right? So
Wow.
and look where he is now. I mean, he's amazing. And it turned out he was not just like, okay, it's nice to add the guy on as a co-author, but nothing will happen. He was good. He was good. Although that was more of a project management job.
I'm going to burn in hell for what I'm going to say next, but my filters are not working today, so I apologize in advance. But back then, he wasn't known as the godfather of CRM, but he was known as Uncle Softy.
No, he wasn't.
Oh,
I have
that's a
another
big one,
name I
anyway.
was known at that I will never reveal on the air, but will occasionally reveal privately.
Now that's pretty intriguing there.
There you go.
Well, unfortunately,
That's the next Stump the Godfather.
let's just put it this way: that has to do with 4th grade. So,
Okay, not as intriguing as I thought it
I'm about
was.
to say it was not that intriguing.
I
All
forgot everything before high school.
All right, so this is going to be every second Thursday of the month. Is that what
Yes.
we're shooting for?
Yeah.
We're going to talk more about talent and jobs in the next one, by the way, just
All right.
so we can prep it up.
Talent and
Hey,
job.
man, it's your segment. If you want to, that's
Yeah,
where
and
you
then-
roll, you
Talent
roll.
and jobs in the next one, unless something incredible like Anthropic going public and changing the world. happens.
Well, half of that will happen.
They need to fix their usage limitations. Speaking of usage, I've tried everything with them. Like I still run into. I have a very complex thing I'm doing, but
I was just reading through the launch of the release notes for
Fable.
Michael's slide, and I'm just appalled by the level of stupidity that reigns in that company's PR firm.
Wow. And that's the note we're going to end on.
yeah, why
Yeah.
not?
Yeah, all right.
It works for me.
All right. So once again, second Thursday of every month, it'll be AdvisorE, or I should say Executive AdvisorE.
We'll have a visual aid next time so you understand what it looks like.
We'll get the
Big
visual.
E. It's a big E at the end.
There
Anyway,
you go.
on behalf of the Big E, I'm Brent Leary.
I'm Paul Greenberg.
We are the CRM Playaz, and it's been a little while since we got to say hello to Minnie, and then goodbye to Minnie. Later, Minnie. See you next week. Oh,
Oh yes.
be on the lookout. Yeah, let's just be
Yes.
a little more serious on this, because next week we're going to be doing a special show. We don't have all the details yet, but one of the I think most beloved analysts in the industry for decades passed away.
In
I guess is it
March.
March?
Yeah.
And so Mary Wardley from IDC. And so we're going to do a show similar to what we did with Marshall Lager when he passed away. Just a remembrance. I didn't have a lot of interaction with her, but we're going to bring some people on that definitely did. And they're going to share, their stories and experiences with Mary, because thank Kate Leggett, who brought it to our attention, and she said basically we should do something for her, and we agreed. So
And she was absolutely right.
yeah,
Mary was
I love her. She was amazing.
yeah, she really was. She was
every time I met her, she was very nice.
she not only was she a really good analyst, she was one of the sweetest people I've ever known. She's really kind.
So be on the lookout for more information when we post it, but it'll be next Thursday's show.
Right.
And on that note, we will see you then.